Good evening, everybody. Scott Reed with Duck Sports Authority coming to you from Honolulu. But we're wrapping up 4 days of practice. The game is tomorrow night, but we did want to at least look back a little bit at the first 4 days of the week. And one of the things we do out here, obviously, there's a lot of us out here doing analysts and giving our thoughts on what's happening out there. You've heard from me, you've heard from Matt Moreno this week, you've heard maybe from some non-affiliated sites, some people out there that just happen to be here covering the game. Kahan is talking to Corey and more. A lot of us talk to them and we see these things through our lens. But I wanted to first kind of reach out and let maybe Coach Gary Kubiak talk a little bit about what he saw. He had Zaire Addison, Decorian Moore, Tredarian Ball all on his team, along with Alai Kalaniavalu. And he also had a couple of targets like Kenai Pepe and Deuce Gerald and Tank Carrington on his side. So we asked him a little bit about each of those guys. And a lot of this is, again, he's going to go over this. But, when you only have 4 days with these guys, it's hard to really get to know them. But I think he did a pretty good job breaking down what he saw from these guys, especially the skill players. It's a lot easier to see what's going on with them. But first I want to kind of put out a couple of clips there because I think Zaire Addison got a little bit of short shrift this week. He didn't get a lot of mentions from people outside of me, mainly because I think they were looking at some of these other 5 stars and they kind of lost sight of what he was doing out here. But he had a really good day on Wednesday during one-on-one sessions. So we caught a couple of clips of those that I want to show you what those clips look like. And then from there, we'll go to Gary Kubiak, and then we'll have a little bit of talk about the other things that happened this week with the Polynesian Bowl, things like that. So let me get to the clips, and then we'll move forward.
Everybody ready? Get set.
Reed with Duck Sports Authority, once again standing here with Coach Gary Kubiak. He's coaching Team Mackay this week, who has a lot of Oregon targets and commits on there. We're going to start with Corey Moore. He's top-rated wide receiver in the nation, #1 on the team. What do you think of him so far?
Well, the first thing that I like is DeCorian has a football IQ, and all the great players that I've been around, that I've coached, have that trait in him. So moves around, played a lot of spots. Obviously, extremely talented, but I think he's bringing a football IQ with him that gives him a chance to do a lot of things.
And I think one thing I heard you say yesterday to the team was that said to somebody after practice that the receivers yesterday in particular did a really good job the night before, having studied and kind of came back and didn't make the same mistakes. Is that kind of like being in the right position?
It's a big challenge, but we have 4 days to get ready to play a game, so that's kind of hard to do. So Monday was pretty rough. Tuesday was a little better, and you could tell yesterday that they had kind of sat down, studied, and locked in. And but he's been the leader of the group all week.
Awesome. Now we're going to move to Tredarian Ball. He's your running back #13.
Kind of the same thing. First off, he stepped in from day one, and he's going to start the game for us, doing a lot of stuff for us. But it's hard in practice to judge the backs because we're not out here tackling and banging and doing those things. So we'll see in the game. But a great kid, very attentive. Oregon's getting a very good one.
Seems like he's got pretty good hands out of the backfield too.
Yeah, absolutely. Catches the ball extremely well.
Almost could play slot.
There you go. Well, I know they do a lot of things with their young man over there. Coaches, it's amazing. So he's got a couple right there that can do a lot.
Awesome. Now we'll move to the offensive line. Your center, #57, Alai Kalaniavalu.
Yeah, to me it's been impressive because he's kind of been the leader of the offensive line because he's got to make all the calls. So, he stepped in from day one and said, follow me. So that's been very impressive. Hard worker. Looking forward to watching him.
Awesome. Now we'll move on to
big tackle.
The big tackle, first name talk 61, Zaire Addison. He spent a good amount of time talking to you yesterday, which impressed me, by the way.
Yeah, I'm going to mention this about Zaire. He's one kid, and there's been a few, but he's the one kid that wants to pick my brain every day. Pulls me aside, asks me a lot of questions, asks me about a lot of players I've coached. What am I looking for? What's a great player look like? And I find that very impressive because that means he's wanting to do things the right way. So obviously he's tremendous size and athletic ability, but this kid wants to be great.
And I'm going to move on to a couple of people who aren't committed to Oregon but are targets for Oregon. The first one is #71, offensive lineman Kenai Pepe.
Yeah, he's the young kid, I think. He's a junior. Yeah, young kid, always big. He's a big man for his age. But it's been fun for him to get to work with like the last two guys we just talked about. So he's learned so much. He'll probably be in this game again next year, so he's got a bright future.
Awesome. Now on defensive side, just a couple of guys. Number 19, they call him Mohawk, Tank Carrington. A little undersized for a defensive lineman, but man, that guy's strong.
Yeah, and they named Tank a captain right off the get-go, so that tells you how much the players respect him. So looking forward to watching Tank play. Like I said, hard to watch in shorts, but what everybody's all about. But they'll turn him loose tomorrow. I'm sure he'll make some plays.
The last one, we'll talk about Deuce Gerald, number 22.
Well, I just would go back and say the same thing about all of them. I just think they've been impressive with what we've asked them to do. We're going to find out a lot about them tomorrow. One thing for sure, Oregon never has a shortage of talent. So he's another good one.
Awesome. I think that's all I got for you today. I really appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
We're still together.
The other thing that happens out here you've got every year they have the players go to the Shriners Hospital and visit with the children at the hospital and can take pictures, sign autographs. It's just a really fun time, and I think the biggest thing that we get from that is I think this is early times when young men start to realize there's a whole world out there that they haven't experienced yet. A lot of them have been fortunate in life to be athletically gifted, probably gone through life without too many problems or really need for elite care in the way that the Shriners do it. And I think this is a chance for them to see the world outside their own zone. And I really like what this says for them. And the thing that happened this year is that the Shriners Hospital and the Polynesian Bowl announced a multi-year partnership, which I think is a fantastic way to reach more people, right? I think the Polynesian Bowl has become an elite all-star game, something that during the ceremony announcing this partnership, everybody talked about, from Ma'a Tanavasa to Jesse Sapolu, even to the Hawaii governor, Josh Green, who happened to be on site for this, as well as the Shriners Hospital themselves. It's just a really great ceremony and a great celebration of what the Polynesian football all-star game and Hall of Fame induction ceremony has become over the past half decade or a little bit more than that. In fact, I was talking to Jesse Sapolu, and he talked about earlier this week. He talked about how back at the beginning, you couldn't get five-star athletes here. They wanted to go to the Army All-American game, now the Navy All-American game in San Antonio. But the change happened when AJ Epinesa decided to attend the Polynesian Bowl, and it kind of opened the floodgates and said, hey, other people want to come out here and do this. And it wasn't just about doing a combine and doing 40 times and doing the one-on-ones and getting in front of people and showing off the skills. It was about celebrating something beyond football, a culture, a family lifestyle, the Polynesian culture, the family integration to football sports and everything else that goes along with that. And I think the Shriners Hospital fits that mold very well. It was really interesting to watch some of these guys out there. And one of the things that happened today, and I wrote about a little bit last night, Zaire Addison has been really impressive off the field as much as on the field this week. And he got a shout out from Governor Josh Green during the ceremony, having spoken with Zaire specifically about some of the things that Zaire was doing here with visiting the children. And he was one of those guys that he did not just feel comfortable just sitting around doing his football thing. He wanted to get to know a lot more. He picked the brains of a lot of people. Gary Kubiak, he picked the brains of Josh Green. In fact, we had a sit-down session with him after the ceremony. But watching all of these players celebrate with these kids, one of the things that showed up, and we'll show a clip of this in a little bit. In fact, we're going to kind of play it. Show you a little bit here with these players. Malachi Lee, he's a four-star offensive lineman for the class of 2026. He plays at Kamehameha High School right here in Honolulu, where we go to all the practices at. He and his sister, when they were younger, had to visit the Shriners Hospital for multiple different things. And I think it goes to show, we see the commercials and we think of the Shriners Hospital as something more than just regular illnesses or regular things because of the way it's presented. But I think, orthopedics, all these other things that you forget, the Shriners pay for this. They don't ask for money. So for people who maybe can't afford the treatments they desperately need to be better at whatever it is they want to be better at, Malachi Lee happened to be one of those guys, and the governor talked about him as well. Malachi talked in here, and we can skip ahead here. First, I want to show you right around the 3-minute mark on this video. You're going to see Right here, you can start seeing in the background. There's Zaire Addison in the hat right there. He's gathering with some of the players before the celebration. This is before they made the announcement of the partnership between the two, and I think it shows just how invested some of these guys are. We can skip ahead. Malachi Lee is around 7 minute mark, and I think we'll listen to his remarks. He's 7:40 is when he starts talking here, so we'll skip ahead a little bit and we'll unmute this so you can listen to Malachi.
Aloha, everyone. It is an honor. Although I won't be able to play in tomorrow's game, I am really looking forward to playing next year. As a player of Polynesian ancestry, I think it's great to have such a prestigious football game that honors and benefits the Polynesian people. Having played with or against some of these players here today, I know that the commitment and dedication it takes to succeed in football, which means working hard to keep your body, mind, and soul in shape. My sister and I had such amazing care at Shriners over the years. I think it's great for them to be partnering with the Polynesian Bowl.
And that's a little bit of just kind of the way that these players feel about the Polynesian Bowl, especially the kids of Polynesian descent. They love sharing the culture with people who aren't familiar with it. And I have not talked to a single person yet who says they did not enjoy embracing a culture. And you watch, and we'll get here. They do the haka dance, a little bit of a preview of it here, and you can see if you look close and you watch, you'll see Decorian Moore in the background, and I'll roll this back a little bit. We'll undo this. We'll
know he's going to
keep
be a
playing.
star.
You'll see Decorian Moore in the background, and it's a
But
really
we know all
fun
of you guys are going to be
event for these
stars.
guys.
Again,
The guy leading this is Kenai Pepe. He's a big dude. He's going to be really one of the top offensive tackles in this year. If you look close to him, you can see Decorian Moore, and he gets into this. He really loves doing this. So there he is right there, kind of with his head down, rubbing his hands together. That's Decorian Moore. He's enjoying this. This is one of the things he's enjoying all week long is the culture, the haka dance. This is what he said he wanted to do the most. When I talked to him on Sunday, even when I talked to him in the airport on Saturday, this is what he was really excited about. And I think when you get to watch this, this is what is fun to do out here. Is this is what it's about? It's about the culture. It's about everything they want to do out here. And I think it's been a great experience for these guys. And I think that is kind of what this is all about. You watch that and you watch the haka dance with all the different players from all around the country learning this and embracing it, not just going through the motions, but really embracing it as something that they enjoy being a part of. So to me, that is always the biggest thing that I take away from this is how much this means, not just to the people that are sharing their culture, but to the people who are learning about this culture. And I think it helps these young men go out into the world and improve the world, and doing it through the Shriners is going to be something I'm excited to watch for the future. And I think it's a really, really good thing. So that is all we have for you tonight. We are going to go ahead and hit the end of the week. We'll have game story tomorrow, but for now, good night, everybody, and have a great evening.